Yo. Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Hogan, owner of owner of Steel Highway Railcams, and this is Trackside with Tom. I see we have a roaring crowd of 27 people here already online waiting for us to get started. So it has been, dare I say, a record-setting month for Steel Highway. I've got Robert Thompson here with me. Robert, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. It is good to be back. It's been quite some time since our last Trackside episode. How long do you think it's been?
I can tell you exactly how long it's been. I believe it's been since June 21st.
Oh, wow. So that's like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, because I traveled the week of the 28th. We didn't do anything the 5th. So this is the 12th. Yep. So it's been since June 21st since we've been online. Or online live, I should say, with Trackside.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, a lot has happened in the last month. As evidenced by the screen recording that I'm sharing with everyone. We're at this live shot of downtown Chicago that we're looking at. You know, I'm never one to bury the lead, at least not intentionally anyway. And I will have to tell you that of all of the webcams that I have put up in the last 3 weeks, this is the one that really kind of takes the cake, right? This is downtown Chicago, and it is just non-stop action every single week.
Yeah, look, we've got some coming in now. It looks like it's the UP GP15-1 switcher that they have assigned to the switching duties here at Ogilvie.
Yeah, so, you know, there's been some questions about this. I think that it's fair to point out that the switch engine is actually on lease from the UP to Metra. We're going to switch over to this view so that we can actually see them coming down toward the service tracks. It's a UP engine. There's two of them down there. Look at that. There's actually one on the service track and one on the lead. So that's kind of fascinating. But anyway, this is lease power from the UP that's being used by Metra for their terminal switching. So
yeah, several years ago I rode the entirety of the UP West line, so all the way from Elburn all the way into Ogilvie, and yeah, UP still has a presence there. I mean, I guess.
Oh, I think we lost you there, Robert.
Oh?
There you are.
Oh.
You cut out there briefly.
That was weird. But I believe that the crews on these Metro trains are UP employees.
That's right.
Yeah, and so maybe it's a lease engine from UP, maybe it's not, maybe UP still does that management, but regardless, you'll see over the day several of these GP15s will shuttle cars in between Ogilvie and the coach yard at, I believe it's Western Avenue.
Yep. And we just saw, you know, the other action that we have here, which is the CTA. This is the green and pink line that goes by perpendicular to Ogilvie Station. And we literally just had a CTA train roll by the platform as well. So let's give a little bit of background for what we're looking at here. So this is the Ogilvie Transportation Center. OTC is what it's abbreviated as. And this is the former C&W or Northwestern station for their commuter operations and their passenger trains in downtown Chicago. The building that the webcam is actually mounted on is what's referred to as the Northwestern power plant. So it was a huge coal-fired power plant that provided steam and electrical power to the station and to some of the surrounding facilities as well. And the current owners are, it's a real estate group, and they bought this from the UP because, to give everybody a little bit of history, UP bought the CNW in 1995, but then immediately started jettisoning property, track, things that they basically, everything that they determined that they thought was excess in the CNW system. And that resulted in some trackage being sold off and also some buildings being sold off as well. And so in 2002, this real estate group brought this CNW power plant from the UP, which they had determined to be surplus, and they actually converted it into 3 stories of office space, as well as a parking ramp where the coal bunker used to be in the basement. So it's divided up into 6 suites, 3 stories of parking or 3 stories of office space. But this camera that we're looking at now, this is on the lower section of the roof. And then we have 2 cameras that are up on the 265-foot stack, looking in 2 different directions. This is looking south toward Ogilvie, and then
look at that. Okay, so we've got, or I guess I'm probably a bit delayed, but I'm seeing now this Metro light engine come through, and you can see on the building in the background, you can barely see the north side of Chicago Union Station. You can see the Mars light spinning around on the building. I just love the Mars lights that Metro has on the cab cars. I think the motion is just so cool.
Yeah, it is. So I've switched over to the north camera now, and this actually dovetails perfectly into what you were saying. So here on the elevated track, we have 6 main lines coming into Metro, which I believe split up to 15 platforms. 15 or 16 platforms at Ogilvie.
It's I don't know how many platforms it is, but it's 16 tracks, so
right.
Maybe 8 platforms. I guess I'm not sure, but it's 16 passenger tracks.
So, if you look at this from the right, the 2 tracks on the far right are what split off to become the UP North line, which goes up to Kenosha and Milwaukee. And then the 2 tracks in the center become the UP Northwest line, which goes to Harvard. And then the 2 on the far left are the UP West line, which goes to Elburn, and it's the Geneva sub, which ends up going through Clinton and Boone and Council Bluffs in that whole direction.
Yeah, Metro doesn't get that far out, but yes.
Right, but that's where the UP runs freight trains. Now, I have had some questions about this also. Yes, the camera does shake. Up on top of this tower, the camera shakes every time that a train rolls by. I see right now we have, it looks like an outbound Metro train going out. And they are actually religiously adherent to the left-handed running, which is a throwback to CNW operations as well. But that guy he's on the outbound side, heading toward Kenosha, with what is probably the next to last commuter departure for the evening, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I guess would you like to tell the audience about what it was like to install the cameras up on the smokestack that high up?
Yeah. So, and here is this literally? Oh, that's one of the Hiawatha trains.
Oh, is it Amtrak?
Yeah, there's Amtrak. So before I get into that, the leads on the street level is the former Milwaukee. That's 3 main lines going into the north end of Chicago Union Station. This is one of the Amtrak Hiawatha trains arriving southbound into, yeah, you can see how he's got a pair of the Siemens locomotives, one on each end, because they do that for the directional running instead of using cab cars. So, on the tracks at street level, you're seeing the metro trains that go on the Milwaukee West line to Elgin Big Timber, and the Milwaukee North line, which is shared with Amtrak and the Hiawatha trains that run from Chicago to Milwaukee, as well as you will see the Empire Builder here, which I don't have any idea if we're actually going to see an Empire Builder tonight, but...
And you also get the
North Central service.
Yeah, North Central service, and that goes on the old. It's the CN now. Is that the old Wisconsin Central? I think.
Line. Yeah.
Oh, the Sioux line.
They
Yes.
go out to Franklin Park and they go north on the former WC or Sioux line at Franklin Park, B12. Tower B12 is what it's called. I have a friend who lives on the north side of Chicago, and I believe the North Central service is a lot less busy than the Milwaukee West and Milwaukee North, but it's still down there. Right. So, just an incredibly busy. You watch this. I've been, quite frankly, it's surpassed my greatest expectations. It seems like every afternoon during commuter rush, there's 100+ people watching these Chicago webcams. And I cannot tell you guys how thankful I am that you tune in and watch this every day. And it really is. It's just fantastic. And the amount of traffic, I think it's basically unparalleled. I don't know where you could get a webcam location that would see more train traffic in a single day or in a single hour, or however you want to calculate it, than this location. I really truly believe that.
Yeah, it is truly a staggering amount. I know some people in the chat have wanted for the camera to stay static so that they can count the train movements. I don't even know if I've actually seen a number from anyone of train movements in a 24-hour period, just because of the staggering number. Just on this North Cam, it's got to be several hundred, I have to imagine.
That's a great question. If anyone here, because we have actually designated Wednesdays as we're not moving the camera on Wednesdays for the train counters that want to actually document all the moves. If it's possible, I think that if someone has a number, I'd love to see it. If it's something that they've actually documented off of this North camera. Before we go any further with the North camera, I do want to tell you, I have a plan to try to stabilize the North camera, and this is going to dovetail into what the installation was like. But we are going to try to stabilize the North and South cameras a little bit better sometime here in the next couple of weeks. Now,
Tom, before you go on, some people in the chat are saying you're pretty quiet. I don't know if you can turn yourself up at all or what.
I can, yes. I have a little more gain that I can give it here. There. I have turned myself up. I hope that helps. So, let's see. Maybe if I turn this, I'm trying to play around with my sliders here. Maybe if I turn this down, this will help also.
Yeah, I don't know if you could maybe turn the volume from the actual stream down.
That's what I did. Yep. So we've got that turned down now to where it should make things a little bit easier.
And I think I know when the cams first went up, people were assuming that the camera shake was because of the wind, but I guess you can talk about this. The shake is because of the trains going by, right?
Yeah, it is. It's literally every time that a train goes by, especially on that track that's closest to the power plant, it shakes the whole building. So, when I first met with these guys and we talked about where to put webcams, and I assumed that the tower was just out of the question. Like, how would I ever get up there? And what I wanted was cameras on the roof level, on the third floor. And they came over there and showed me that there is, in fact, they have a scaffold and a set of stairs going all the way to the top of that tower. And it takes about 10 minutes to climb all the way up to the top. I'm not even joking. And you really have to plan, whatever you need. So there were 5 of us there on the day of the install. The reason that there was 5 was because it was myself and G. Mitchell, who I don't know if he's in the chat here tonight watching or not, but he was on this long trip of multiple installs that whole week. And then we wrapped up in Chicago that Friday afternoon. And then there were 3 guys from the ATCS community that were there helping, because not only do we have webcams on the top of this tower, but we have ATCS equipment monitoring 4 different channels, 8 frequencies from the top of this tower as well. So to give you guys, if you look at the this Canadian Pacific C&M sub, you look at this Canadian Pacific Elgin sub, you look at the CN Chicago sub, and Metra on the Southwest and the Rock Island service, and the NS Chicago line, there's coverage in downtown Chicago for all of those now. We're monitoring something like 100 control points off of all these different radios and antennas that we have up there. So thanks are in order, obviously, to G, who took this whole week-long trip with me. But then beyond that, thank you to the ATCS group. It was Mark Lowy, Adam Harrington, and Bill Edwards, who brought all the equipment and helped set all that up, and just a huge benefit to the ATCS community as well, to be able to have that kind of coverage in downtown Chicago. So I certainly hope that if you talk to any of those guys, tell them thank you, because the equipment that's up there is because of their hard work of nearly a 9 or 10 hour day putting equipment into that tower, carrying, making trips up and down, and making sure that we had everything that we needed, and it was all up there and running. But the view from up there is just spectacular. And I'll admit, up there on the top, there's a guardrail that goes all the way around the top of the there's a guardrail that goes all the way around the top of the top of the tower. I don't know why I didn't come up with that. It's a 3-foot guardrail, and the cameras and the antennas are actually mounted to that guardrail with right angle cross brackets. So that was a decision to be able to get a better view off of the top of the tower, but then we get all of the vibration from the building every time that something goes by. It shakes the building in just some incredible ways. It's really surprising to me. But that's why we're working on a plan to hopefully mitigate that in the near future.
Yeah, and honestly, just in my watching of the cams that are on the tower, it's really not even really that bad. As if you're if you're in this view, if you were to zoom in to the other view, because I know you can see from this position, you can see a little bit of the Harvard sub coming in on the north side, right as it comes in to the curve where the camera is. If you were to zoom all the way into there, you'd get some shake, but it really is not all that bad, honestly.
I mean, I feel like sometimes it looks like there's an earthquake in downtown Chicago, but
Yeah,
that's, I guess, my personal viewpoint, nothing else.
yeah.
So, anyway, just know that we are working to try to mitigate, and thank you everyone for tuning in. You know, one of the ways that this is a record-setting month is that we have gone up. So when we were on the air last on June 21st, we had just barely crossed 10,000 subscribers to the Steel Highway YouTube channel. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, 10,000, that's awesome. And thinking how we've been working up toward this for 2 years. It took us 2 years to get to 10,000 subscribers. And now I look at this 3 weeks later, we're almost at 12,000 subscribers. When I look at it tonight, and I'm gonna run over here and look at the exact number. 11,921 is what YouTube is telling me. We've added 1,925 subscribers in the last 28 days. That is an absolutely astonishing pace. And again, my thanks to the entire community for supporting us in this way and really being supportive of Steel Highway by subscribing to the channel, by subscribing to the magazine, by joining the channel as a member. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. And I have really, really appreciated the support of everyone that comes on here and makes sure that we, to help increase the visibility and the viewership for the channel. So, as much as it saddens me, because we could sit here and watch downtown Chicago all night. We have to move on to these other webcams that have been initiated.
Yeah, I have timestamps at the 2 million if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go over there because
you want to go. I've got 2 trains at the SRI cam. If you want to go there first.
Yeah. So we're gonna go here, and we're going to blow this up to full screen.
Boo.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Noah. How are you doing?
Hi, did I scare anyone? I hope so.
You hope so?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you invested in what we're doing here.
So we just got done talking about Chicago, so you basically missed the most exciting part of the program. Sorry.
Oh no.
And we're going to Owosso, Michigan now. So, what are your timestamps there, Robert?
The first one at Owosso is at 13:30.
Looks like it was kind of a rainy day over in Owosso today.
Yeah, had quite a bit of rain in this area. We got rain in Iowa in the morning, and then that translated to rain in Chicago this evening. So, just a rainy day today.
Well, I went back a little bit too far here. So, all right, a little bit of background about Owosso, Michigan. This is the Great Lakes Central main line. This train is heading toward, well, the end of the line, I believe, is Cadillac, Michigan. This train is heading north out of town or west.
Oh, and Patrick's here too.
Hello, Shay.
Hello,
Hey,
Patrick.
what's up, Bolty?
We've got a quartet now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is obviously this is a Great Lakes Central train going north or west out of Owosso and heading toward. I believe they said the end of the line is Cadillac. And
All right.
I will admit I'm not some expert on Michigan rail fanning. I'm just telling you what I remember from being there. And you get a couple moves each day from the Great Lakes Central. One of the things that the rail fans out, because I met some rail fans in Indiana and Michigan when I was out making this trip. And they referred to the Great Lakes Central as good luck catching them. Because apparently they have a fairly irregular schedule, from what it sounds like.
Gotcha.
And so now we have the ability to watch the Great Lakes Central every single day. Now,
I'm inclined to, I'm no expert on trains in this area either, but I am in a few Michigan Facebook groups for it, and I'm pretty sure they do get unit grain trains off the CN every once in a while. And based on how this one looks,
yeah,
and the direction it's
this
going,
very
I'm
much has
inclined
the
to
look of a unit grain train.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd say this. I guess for people in the chat who might be unfamiliar with it as this train rolls by, obviously Great Lakes Central is cool, but maybe Tom, you could explain what the Steam Railroading Institute is and what this funny-looking wide cab precision locomotive leasing Jeep is doing in front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Steam Railroad Institute first, because they are a passenger operation. They are a museum and kind of a little tourism hub down there in central Michigan. So what they have here, this precision locomotive leasing, is actually a former MARC unit, and it was a rebuild of some kind. I forget what the exact designation that they gave it was. But it was a rebuild, and you can see a rebuild with head-end power. You can see the 4 turbines on top of the long hood. And they signed a lease on apparently some pretty sweetheart terms with Precision Leasing to take this locomotive and do some proof of concept with it running passenger trains at the museum. And so, as we continue to roll this guy by, I'm actually looking for Owosso, because I am going to get on here and I'm going to operate the camera in real time.
Oh.
Yeah, and depending on what we, how the rest of the stream goes, this same train that is going, I guess, north right now comes south later in the day, and I have a timestamp for that too if we get that far.
All right.
But I'd also note that the Steam Railroading Institute is the famous Pierre Marquette 1225 locomotive, which is based out of here, and they're currently doing some work on it. I guess I'm not sure specifically what, but it will. This camera will be able to capture the movements of the 1225, and I'm sure many people know it was the basis for the Polar Express movie. So I think that's.
Wait, it was?
I know, crazy. But yeah, I think this camera will be very cool to see the 1225 running past this camera.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back over here to the live view, because I think we've probably seen enough grain hoppers now to get the general idea of what this train was.
Yeah.
So I have turned the camera toward the shops. So this is the passenger consist that's attached to that Jeep black and orange Jeep that was up there by the street. And then there are additional passenger cars and caboose or two over here on this left-hand side. And they've got a signal that changes aspects periodically over here as well. That's what you're seeing. It just went from red to yellow. It'll go to green in a little bit. But if you look down here, past the passenger cars, and you look all the way down, there, it switched over to green. Yep, it's just on a timer. So the big bright lights on the overhead doors that are all the way down kind of underneath where the central is, that is the shops for the GLC. And then over to the left of that, kind of between the trees, is the roundhouse for the Steam Railroading Institute, which is where the PM 1225 is currently actually off of its drivers. They've been doing wheel work and they've been doing running gear work. And maybe something else too. I forget what else could have been. But the point is that they've had it off of the running gear for months. And they are getting ready at some point here in the future, probably, he thought it was going to be by the 1st of August, that they would have the locomotive actually back on top of the wheels. And then they're going to start doing some break-in runs. And they're going to do break-in runs right here in front of the camera where these passenger coaches are parked right now. And then once they do some break-in runs there, then they will actually be able to go out on the GLC main line and take some trips out at track speed to do some basically further testing, further break-in runs. And their goal is to be completely functional and signed off on, ready to go, so that they can run their Polar Express trains with it in November and December. So that is that's where they're at with the whole GLC and rebuilding of the steam locomotive right now. But that is absolutely, I mean, they call it's their Lima Burke, and they love it, and they absolutely care for that locomotive and want to keep it running basically forever.
Yeah, that camera, once the engine is back running again, that camera is going to have some really, really great up close views of a huge steam engine, and it's just going to be great. And I think they announced today that they are going to be doing some passenger trips for the Central Michigan University football season, I guess, or I think it's probably just one. I think
it's just one trip. It's going to be in September. Yes.
Yeah, and it's going to leave from Owosso here and then run up to I believe it's Mount Pleasant, Michigan, which is where Central Michigan is, and it'll be that'll be, I guess that's probably the next on the docket as for actual passenger trips. But then obviously come Christmas time, assuming 1225 is back in working order, there's going to be some really neat stuff happening here.
Yep. And quite honestly, you know, the 1225 and basically doing some publicity stuff for the Steam Railroading Institute, that's the whole reason that the camera's here, quite honestly. So, you know, don't fool yourself. We love the GLC, and they're a fantastic group. I got to meet some of those guys when I was out there. But the steam engine is why we're here, right? So let's move on, because I did 2 installs in Michigan, and the other one is Three Rivers, Michigan. And this one, you have a timestamp for Three Rivers there, Robert?
Yes, if you go to 11:16, we have a train passing.
11:16 this morning. We're going to have to go almost all the way back to the very, very beginning. All right, 11, 14. All right, so we're at 11:14 in like 48 seconds, and I'm gonna talk for a minute while the train shows up. So this is at a restaurant called Frankie's by the Tracks. This is on the Grand Elk Railroad. This is a Watco property that was purchased from the NS, and they run from Elkhart, Indiana, up to Kalamazoo, Michigan, I believe. And this is actually a siding where they do occasionally meet trains here. The NS also has overhead trackage rights that they occasionally do utilize to move traffic over this particular area. And I think that it's overhead trackage rights to get to a grain elevator, if I remember correctly. So when we see this, we're going to see that I believe most of their fleet is, in fact, Watco black and gold engines. So, let's see. Yep, and we got a southbound here coming. I do not see the gates coming down just yet. But for those of you that like standard cab EMD, there is an awful lot of that on the Great Lakes Central and here on Grand Elk also. So, Noah, would you like to chime in here on the Grand Elk Watco power that we're going? I wish we would see it by now, but it hasn't quite shown up yet.
Admittedly, I've only seen one train pass this cam during the time that it's been up, but just based on pictures I've seen online of the railroad and other videos and such, they've got a decent variety. I mean, you've got there you go, SD40, and then hopefully Canadian cab here. Nope, not today. But I believe they have a Canadian cab Jeep as well, which is, always nice to see.
Yeah, I believe this is a pair. Is that an SD40 or a Jeep 40?
They both look like Jeeps to me.
Yeah, I think this is two Jeep 40s. I'm pretty sure.
I think they're Jeep 38 simply because they're both in the 3800 series, but I could be wrong.
You know what? You're probably right.
And I believe, again, I haven't really done all that much watching of this cam in particular, but I believe they do also have some SD45 car bodies that have been derated to SD40s, and some other, they do have some 6-axle EMD power of some variety that runs by the cam as well.
Yeah. We definitely saw, so it does seem like from what I've seen that their power kind of gets paired up, and they run them elephant style, or excuse me, they run them back to back, but they run them in pairs back and forth between two locations quite a bit. And the day that we were there installing, we saw a pair of Jeeps just like what you see here, and also a pair of SD40s that went by as well. And it seems like those pairs stay together quite a bit. Do you have a second timestamp from Three Rivers here, Robert?
Yes. I assume it's the same train coming back the other way. Actually, it's at 22:12, just since the beginning of the show.
Oh, wow. And then we have been asked to focus on Fridley at some point during the rest of the show. So,
well, we're not.
I'm assuming that's already coming up at some point, but just
not
to bring
for
it
the
up.
rest of the program, maybe, but we are going to go to Fridley certainly.
Yeah, we still have got 20 minutes. Don't you?
I might have taken some artistic liberties in translating that message over.
That's fair. Let's see what our northbound power is. We had the 3808 and 3807, I think, on the southbound.
Same engines. Nice.
We're not going to be able to make it out. But it does look like a pair of Jeeps again. That could be a 7. I don't know.
I think they're the same 2 engines, to be honest.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, again, very much a short line style of operation where, you know, you have the same crews, you have the same power going by kind of the same time each day. So they're definitely, you know, I think by this camera, most days you're going to see 4 trains, 2 north and 2 south. So
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
For a short line. Also, I misinterpreted what was initially said. So when I say focusing Fridley, they literally meant focusing Fridley, because I guess the camera is not in focus right now, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's something I can work on here in just a moment.
Lightning at the Three Rivers.
What's that, Robert?
I was saying there was looked like a big lightning flash as this train was rolling by at Three Rivers.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, here is the rear of his train. So, we're going to go now over to this last, Monday's project, which was the upgrade of the biggest problem child on Steel Highway, the upgrade of the Trempealeau webcam. So, for those of you that I know that I've gotten a lot of messages from people, the Trempealeau webcam for the last several months had been a big problem, right? And it deserved not only to get moved, because as you can see, I've actually got the light pole completely out of the frame now. So we're not staring at that street lamp anymore. And then in addition to that, we now have a PTZ cam in Trempealeau as well. It turns out that some of the cabling had actually gone bad, which was why it was not making a good connection, and the camera was going in and out. But that has all been resolved, and we now have a Trempealeau webcam that can in fact be rotated around and looking at different things. So we are on the BNSF St. Croix sub here. And if I open up the webcam software, I think that I can probably get this thing to move around as well. I don't know exactly what the story is with the 4 old tractors that are parked there. Maybe there was some kind of a parade today or something. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But that is, you got a deer, 2 IHs, and it looks like a case there in the background.
Oh, so you could whip the camera around and potentially see a Lock and Dam 6 then.
Yes, that is correct.
I did not know this had been upgraded, to be honest.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna take this. No, we gotta do that. So this is still the same great location here in Trempealeau. And admin add. Look at that. There we go. Now I'm going to go over and, you know, one of the things that I have come to find out is that we have, in fact, a pretty decent following of, this will make you very happy, Noah, barge and boat followers.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so if we swing around here, we can see the Lock and Dam. This is looking downriver as soon as it catches up here because, you know, YouTube is about 20 to 30 seconds behind. But this is the Lock and Dam, Lock and Dam number something. Maybe someone will throw it in the comments.
It's number 6.
Number 6? All right.
Yep.
So I do know that the lock and dam numbers start at St. Paul and count up as you go south. So
Oh,
this
wow. Not to interrupt, but if we go back to, oh shoot, the timestamps aren't even on the webcam yet. I just realized. Well, if we go back about half an hour, as soon as the Z train clears up, a cruise ship actually goes by, like a legit river cruise ship. They've been running these. I don't know. It's a fairly new model, new service that's been running for the past 2 or 3 years, but yeah, there's a cruise ship that goes by the Railcam at about, I don't know, this would probably be like right around 9, probably towards the beginning of the show.
All
Yeah,
right.
you've got it's actually you've got the Z train, and then you have the cruise ship, and then pretty shortly after you have a eastbound manifest. So
What's the
Put a little
timestamp
probe.
for it? Have you got that?
there's no
timestamps, which is why it said, you know,
Oh,
you
that's
probably have to
right.
go
I
back.
still haven't got. Yeah, add that to the list of things that need to happen. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, just go back like 35 minutes. You'll get the Z train, and immediately after it clears, the cruise ship shows up. So you shouldn't have trouble finding it at all.
So, I think I found it here. And the tractors are still parked there as well.
Yeah, so there's a little bit better of a view, a little bit more light on them.
Uh-huh. Here comes the Z train. So, apparently this is the time slot for the Seattle mail train, as it is referred to. And, oh, he's running on the wrong main, too. Look at that. But this is the Seattle, or Chicago to Seattle afternoon mail train, according to the locals. And this goes by here pretty regularly between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, 8 and 10 o'clock at night, whatever you want to call it. And I'm trying to think, this was something that when I had, oh yeah, here comes the container part. So some of the guys that I had the opportunity to meet with up there around the Trempealeau area, they were telling me about how it's not only just a big deal for the railroad, but it's something that they can just about set their watches by every day with this Seattle mail train going by.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I don't know why it was so jumpy at first, but it's definitely smoothed out a bit now. And as you're saying that as soon as he clears, we're gonna have the cruise ship come by.
Yep.
Yes, ZCHCSSE. That's right. Oh, I think we got an H1 DPU there. And this would, yeah, that's a pretty big, that's a 4-deck cruise ship, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. It's the American Symphony. And then sometime tomorrow or the day after, the American Countess should be coming downbound as well, which is another cruise ship. Older than this one, but it's still another neat one.
Yeah, on Sunday night when I was there, we watched the American Countess go north, and then it was actually docked at Red Wing the next day.
Yep, and that's where they're heading to right now from, I don't know how far north they went, but they are heading to Red Wing right now.
Yeah.
And then Tom, if you stay on it, maybe if you just fast forward just a few more minutes, pretty much right after the cruise ship goes out of frame, you have another train coming by.
We'll just advance a little bit here, and I think I found it.
Yep.
So this would be an eastbound. And it looks like he's got a war bonnet in his consist. And, all right, well, Yeah, we got some traffic in both directions, and we've got the cruise ship, kind of everything that we look for here in Trempealeau, all in one sitting. So, with our final several minutes of the program, we've got about 9 minutes left here. We are going to go over to Fridley. And let's just see. Yeah, that's pretty well out of focus.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I might be able to do something to adjust that.
Would not be surprised if this camera becoming out of focus ends up being a reoccurring theme thanks to those string lights there.
Yeah, that is definitely all right. So we got to do this, and we will get this fixed in real time. So we had the scanner radio feed going early on there at Fridley, and then for some reason the scanner started picking up a bunch of interference, and so I've had to shut that off. I don't really understand why, but I can look at the sound bar and I can see that it's picking up all kinds of interference that I just have to totally turn it off to block it out.
That sucks.
Yeah, because we had a pretty good thing going initially. All right, so we got to do that. Go over here.
And I guess just to fill some empty time here while we're trying to fix this issue. So this is, the BNSF Staples sub. You've got the same traffic, the same mail train that went by, or I guess a Z train that went by Trempealeau is eventually going to go past here. You've got all your West Coast traffic that'll take the Staples going west at Coon Rapids, and then everything else that doesn't go west will go north on the Hinckley sub, and you've got your Twin Ports manifests. I think every once in a while they route coal trains through here instead of across the Brainerd sub. You've got taconite trains that come off that line, CPKC and UP trackage rights trains. So there's a pretty good variety of things that will go by this webcam.
Yeah, so just out of frame, well, it's not just out of frame, but about 2 miles to the left or west from this location is where the split is for the Staples and the Hinckley subs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think I am just about in. And so what you see is that you get quite a bit of traffic from all these different locations that then split and go off in their separate directions just outside of the frame.
And you also get the Empire Builders will go through here as well as the North Star commuter trains.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about North Star and the Builder, I guess.
And I guess for the people who aren't exactly familiar with the exact geography around here, this is the northern end of the BNSF Northtown Yard, which is the main BNSF yard for the Twin Cities area, and it is a absolutely massive yard. You have tons of trains going in and out of here. I guess I don't know which tracks in specific we're looking at here, but you will see there's a hump yard in Northtown, and you will see the hump yard power pull this far down. I guess maybe these are the departure tracks we're looking at here.
I think these are the arrival tracks for eastbound manifests. But there also might be departure tracks, within this. I'm not entirely sure, but I think eastbounds typically go in here, and then they get funneled into the hump for reclassification for points east. So Galesburg, Chicago, BRC, what have you.
Yeah, but this is people can look it up on maps, but the yard is absolutely massive there, and so you have dozens of trains coming in and out per day. So this cam will certainly be seeing a whole lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Tom, the view looks a lot better now.
Yep, I got it back in focus, so we're good there.
I would. Is there a way? Are the cams set to like autofocus, or can you lock it in like this focus so it doesn't drift in and out?
It does autofocus. I just had to adjust the zoom a little bit, and then the autofocus fixed itself. So
Okay.
it just got out of kilter a little bit. So what you were talking about, yes, there's two main lines. Main 1, main 2 are the two tracks that are closest to the fence, and then you start into your I think they call them West Arrival. Which are like these grain hoppers here are on one of the arrival tracks, and then the West Departure is further back. Because at this point that we're looking at, the yard is something like 15 tracks wide. And then all the way down, if you look on the right-hand side, all the way down where this highway overpass is, in between all the lights, that is where the hump lead is. The hump lead actually starts underneath of that highway overpass, and then they're classifying cars into a bowl on the far side of the street, overhead street there. So that is that's kind of the layout. And then yes, in the mornings and in the afternoons, you'll see 3 or 4 trips of North Star commuter trains on these two closest tracks on the main lines. You will see Empire Builder. Eastbound, if it's on schedule, generally in the mornings. Very early in the mornings, and westbound, if it's on schedule, will be sometime in like the midnight time frame, midnight to 1 a.m. kind of time frame going through here, and they'll be going by on these inside tracks as well. So before we sign off tonight, we need to mention all of our new hosts, right? Because we're here. This is Forgotten Star Brewery in Fridley, Minnesota. And these are the same trains you see going through Galesburg on the Mendota, or not, going up the Barstow sub at Galesburg. And then going through East Dubuque, going through Trempealeau. Same trains that you got going through there, and then end up going by, some of these same trains end up going by this location in Fridley. And then if you follow our good friends over at Northern Transcon, you can follow those same trains out through western Minnesota as well. So
I guess if you'd like to, Tom, Buddy has several times in the chat put a timestamp for one of the North Star trains. So if you would like that to be the final run by of the show, I can.
We could probably do that.
1740 you can go to, so people can see these commuter trains that go in and out of the city.
Yeah, well, what I skipped back to here, you got a better view of the yard, and this is showing a train on a departure track leaving westbound. What do we have here? Did you say 1640 or 1740?
1740.
Okay. So we got to go back a little ways. So anyway, we've got Forgotten Star Brewery, which is our new host in Fridley. And then we have the Chicago Northwestern Power Plant and Structured Development, who is our new host in Chicago. We've got the Steam Railroading Institute in Owosso. We've got the Trempealeau Hotel, who was very gracious in putting me up for 2 nights while I was doing the upgrade to their camera equipment. And we've got Frankie's in Three Rivers. which is the new host there. And gosh, am I missing it? Are there? I don't think that there are any more cameras that I put up. I mean, it's been kind of a long couple of weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I might be missing something here.
No, I think that's all of the ones we've highlighted here.
So, yes, thank you to all of our new hosts, and we're gonna try to get this North Star commuter train roll by before we log off. And thank you to everyone who assisted me in many ways. I got to meet a lot of fantastic people while I was on this trip. I figured it out when I was on my way home last night from Fridley that I have been on the road for 10 out of the last 20 days. And I do think that my wife is probably kind of annoyed with me in that regard, but thankfully she's an absolute saint and puts up with me anyway. So here comes our North Star commuter train. Yes, so thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I know that we didn't get to very many of the comments, but I definitely appreciate everyone stopping in for Trackside with Tom. And thank you for the support of all these new locations, because without your support, without the members who help fund the channel with their monthly contributions, I thank all of you for that. Thank you to everyone who comes out and you know, anytime that I meet people trackside, it's always fantastic. And thank you, Robert and Noah and Patrick, for being on with us tonight, because, you know, the co-hosts, it really gives me it's great to have the co-hosts to lean into when we have, you know, I have people here to talk to. It doesn't have to be just me all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, it is 10:03. We're going to be signing off now. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Noah. And thank you, Robert, all for being online here tonight. And, you know, I'm going to go home and I already am home. I'm going to take a breather here now and enjoy a little bit of time at home. So thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight. And we are going to be online one last time Wednesday night, 9 p.m., 1 week from now. So we'll look forward to that. And then there will be a schedule change for the fall. So everyone have a fantastic evening. Thank you.
See you guys.
Mm-hmm.